You ever had one of those situations where you're just baffled and can't figure out what happened? This O-ring is gone and nowhere to be found.
Hi, I'm Tony Fast's daughter.
I'm Tony Fast's daughter.
I'm Tony Fast's daughter. Our family has been blessed to farm in Montana
for over 100 years now.
And it wouldn't be possible without the great team we have
and blessings from our Savior, Jesus Christ.
It's supposed to be windy for another day at least, and cold. Let's go work outside from the shop.
Okay, so the other day we were changing oil in the teal truck and we found rusty orange whatever coolant, right? So oil cooler was the consensus on that. So we're gonna start changing the oil cooler, actually have it. That's it. Right there. So anyway, have the buckets ready. Unfortunately it's just a big plug. There's no petcock under there, so it might be a little hectic dumping water out. The best part about working on creepers is when you pull yourself closer trying to loosen something. Good thing antifreeze tastes really sweet.
You working by the hour, or are you?
Well, I'm salary, it doesn't matter. I got tired of waiting. Oh, there's the warm water.
Can you just hold it?
Yep, there we go. If I can get my thumb back out of there. There's the warm water. Apparently heat rises. How close am I?
You're about 4 inches.
Close enough. Cool, cool. We got the coolant drained, and there's a pipe that goes from here to here. That is off. That wasn't as hard to come off as I thought. And then I don't want my heat running backwards, so hopefully that will help me keep those organized when we go to put it back together. Engine heater is out. I believe the next step is taking those guys out. So apparently we have some different length bolts. There it went. Nailed it. Wow. There we go. Sweet. All right, there it is on the bench. Matches up so far, as we can tell. So there was a gasket here where it goes up against the block. So there's that gasket there. Will have to come off, but we'll just use the right stuff. And then it looks like there's another gasket right under here too. If I stay on this side of the gasket, there she goes. There it is. Okay, we've got all of this cleaned up. Looked like there had been gasket maker around where this O-ring goes right here. There it went. Okay, we had a bit of an issue putting it back together. The O-ring from the oil cooler housing that goes into the block cut. We found a different O-ring that's close, but it may be a little too small because it went in pretty easy. We're gonna have to heat it up several times, flushing the system out. So I guess we'll know if it's leaking and we need to get a different O-ring. It went together like anything, like a pain, because trucks are dumb. Just put the hoses back on and start flushing it. There you go. Alright, I think everything's back together. Now to flush.
We got a little issue. See how the back tire and this tire don't line up? This pivot pin is wore. Bushings are wore out. So Got the tire grabber jack under it. Gonna take the tire off, start pulling that apart. But Tim's truck's in my way yet. So we're gonna take the tire off the old-fashioned way, because this one will balance itself. It's the skinny tires that are heavy and dangerous. Should not do that. So that's where we got the bolts out. Take the chisel for.
I got the chisel.
I don't know, you're supposed to use it though. Yeah, a little play in there. I wonder if we can't push the pin one way and hook the bushings and do them like that. Leave the pin in there overnight. Brass with like a plastic honeycomb. Not much you can do about that. Both bushings are in, new seals, going back up a little. So I'm gonna hop over here and help Tim out. He took off for the night already, but had some questions in the last video what we bought that for splitting our fertilizer application. That's not the plan. We bought that disc drill, and to get enough fertilizer down for our crops, we can't do that all with the seed since there's only a single shoot drill. So we're gonna use a spreader to spread the nitrogen later. And then also on our winter wheat, since we usually just put down our starter fertilizer, our phosphorus, and a little bit of sulfur, potash, whatever, in the fall with the winter wheat. Don't want to spend all the money. We could, but why? Put all the money in the nitrogen in the fall when you could just do it in the spring. So that's the plan of that fertilizer spreader. So you ever have one of those situations where you're just baffled and can't figure out what happened? Tore this back apart, started it up, and oil came out, which would make sense because there's a couple of hole grooves here. This O-ring is gone and nowhere to be found. I know it was in there. I saw Tim put it in there. Other one's still here. Only thing I can think of is somehow, and this is really pretty far-fetched, this was sitting here when the cooler got put on and shoved it in like this somehow, and the oil pressure pushed it into the block or into the journeys to the rest of the motor. I don't know. I guess we're gonna pull this whole thing off in the morning. It's crazy. I literally don't know where it went, and it's on the floor. It's a mystery. Tim started digging around, couldn't find the washer either this morning or the O-ring. So next step was, let's pull the pan off and see if somehow it got pushed into there.
This is a classic. This escalated quickly.
Yeah, that every job is one 30-cent piece away from a 2-day project.
Something like that, yeah.
So, not in the pan. Now he's pulling the oil filter housing off. I sure hope it's in there. If not, I don't know where it's at. We might find it like 3 oil changes from now in the pan if it's not in here. Everyone thinks Tim's my mechanic. He is my mechanic. It's just that I have to do office work this time of year too. Like invoice hay and find parts, and then I come out to the office and he's halfway done with the project.
It's because I don't have enough cake to sit here and eat. Can't drink that much coffee.
Yeah.
That might even hurt me.
Show me the O-ring.
Dang it. Not seeing it.
I honestly can't believe that that thing would go in there, but where else is it?
So we went looking for that O-ring. We cannot find that O-ring anywhere. We've searched all over the floor. We've even moved the truck ahead. Nothing. Best case scenario, from calling experts, other friends that have been in motors and mechanics and stuff like that, it was dropped on the floor and it rolled. And if you go by Murphy's Law, if it's possible, it'll do it, basically, right? So we have checked all through the floor. This is half of the oil mess. The other half's cleaned up. It went in, the oil went into the floor drain. We've cleaned out the floor drain looking for it. We cleaned out the basket at the bottom end of the floor drain. It's not in there. We've searched everywhere in the motor that we could possibly search. We took the oil line off of the compressor and blew air backwards, trying to push it out. Again, our assumption is it's on the floor somewhere. We just haven't been able to find it. We've searched truck frame, we've searched everywhere. Even checked our pockets. Like, I know I didn't put it in my pocket, but checked the pockets, checked everything. If by chance that O-ring went into the motor, it should end up in the oil pan, and that's where it would stay. Even if it got chewed up, it would still stay in the oil pan because the oil pickup tube has a good solid screen on there. Not much could get through there. Plus, it's rubber, so it shouldn't do any damage. The worry is if it plugs something. So it's gonna have to be a thing where we just watch, check the oil pressure gauge all the time for a while and see what we get. So put that all together and then put it on the motor, and that's the best we can do for now, as we can tell. Obviously, we are not professional mechanics. We're trying to be, we act like it. So I'm gonna put that back together, put the oil pan back on. That's where we're at on this. So yes, it escalated big time. What do you do? What are the chances that I can get the oil pan in without bumping a bunch of dirt into it? You should live on more like paved roads. Which, I mean, there'd be just as much dirt though.
Yeah.
Because it's a truck.
We probably wouldn't have near as much crap to clean out of the floor drain.
Or off of our hands, yeah, and from out from underneath our fingernails. Yeah. Here we go. Are we torquing these to German tight, right? Guten Tag. So Warren shows back up, and out of his mouth he says, "Did you check your buckets of coolant that you drained?" So we did, and we found the other one. Thanks for making it back from Arizona. How you like the snow? So I'm still gonna stick with what's in there for now, and we'll fill it back up with oil. If they don't work, then we'll take the cooler back apart and put those back in. But it's a relief to know, as Warren did also say, it's a relief to know it's not in the motor somewhere. It's not going to cause problems. So, woohoo! You know when you're at that point where you think you're gonna sneeze and then you just don't? That's where I'm at. Anyway, okay. Before lunch I got this all back together. Still need to put filters on it and fill the truck with oil. The only thing I've left to do to finish up the cooler part is that guy. So that's next. Fill it with oil and finish flushing, get coolant in it. I don't remember exactly where Tony is at that, but and get it started so we can see if this holds oil like it should. There we go. That's better. Oh, you pig. Yes, name calling is allowed when working on trucks. Okay, we are full of oil. Started it. Forgot to YouTube that part there. But this is where the oil would have come out, and none did. So we let it run for a little bit. Not very long because we don't have any water in it right now. But it did run for a little bit and no oil came out. So my O-rings, as far as we can tell, are good. So next step, we're going to put some Cascade in the radiator and use this to flush out all the oil, because it shouldn't foam up and bubble, and it will get rid of the grease, and it will give a nice fresh scent. I think watching paint dry is fun. Yeah, watching an engine heat up for the thermostat open.
All right, so the teal truck is out. Put some, what do they call that? Good antifreeze. Not the green stuff anymore. The red stuff we put in there after we flushed it. Extended life, that's right. Anyways, got this brought back in here, and we were having trouble with getting the belt to feed, which brings the fertilizer to the back. The spreaders hit it, and there was no RPMs off the spreaders. So, got looking around. There was no speed sensor here. So we got the speed sensor here a couple days ago. Got it counting right. This is the control valve to run if you have a dual bin. That is what regulates the hydraulic flow to make that move a different speed. That was making noise when we were trying to control the main one in the monitor, which is product 1. This is supposed to be product 2. So went through, got the nodes reassigned where they're supposed to be. Now everything works on the spreader. So the belt turns, spreaders give us RPMs. That part I think is ready to go, minus calibrating it. So we'll have to do a catch test, however that calibration works. But a couple more things we got to work on. This still needs work, and it will not idle down. The switch works, but must be a broken wire somewhere. So we'll get that figured out. $800 for that stupid cylinder that goes on there. So I found a $200 one. It's a Brico mid-row bander cylinder. So do a little fabbing. Oh yeah, we got a few handrail issues. This side's completely gone. Have to fix that. So yeah, getting close. All right, to mount this new cylinder on here, we got to extend this out because we're going to the clava style end on this new cylinder onto here. So I found a pipe. We'll tighten that up with a new bolt, longer bolt that goes in there, hold that cylinder end on. And then we'll just figure out what to do here. I think we're gonna make a sleeve out of something that goes over here that we can pin. Too long?
No, the bushing's almost tight. You're probably at the end of the threads there.
Get the bushing lined up a little better. Well, we got so close. 4 O-rings, flat face, 6 ORB. The old ones were 4x4. But we did manage to reuse the cylinder that we cut off. The old cylinder rod out of that one is now our pin. Found a rectangular tubing to slip over that. Now if we just add some oil, we're in business. Got to round up a couple 90-degree fittings. We're golden. That's funny. That thing's golden too. Dad jokes. Well, thanks for watching. This thing is almost ready to go. We still have to figure out why the throttle switch isn't going down. We did a little diagnosing on the ECU. Looking for the wires, waiting to find out on a schematic exactly which wire going to the ECU will throttle that down. And perhaps just run a jumper wire. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget, farm hard, pray harder, and we'll see you next video.